We're talking about lateral violence and what's happened to us, but I can't help but wonder where does it come from? Where did that come from? Where did we learn to treat one another in that way? And then I think about fear. Like, I think we do a lot of what all of you have mentioned out of fear, and the need to feel that we have a little bit of power, because power has been taken away from us for so many years. When you look at the time of colonization, the time of residential school, and even to this day, like, you can't even go back and say it all happened in history, because it continues to happen to us today. But the unfortunate thing is we now are taking on the role of the oppressor and doing that to our own people. You know, when I go back to my experience going to a provincial school and walking, you know, through that class, through those school doors for the first time, and you being, you know, the only busload of Native kids that go there, and they're looking at you and they're laughing at you and they're holding their noses, and right on that first day of school you realize that I'm different, and you internalize it and you begin to think that I'm not good enough, I'm not as good. So every time I've been rude or gave off some signs of being not a very good person, it's because of how I feel inside my own insecurities. And I think that's what happens in our communities. People don't even realize that they're doing this anymore, because they feel, you know, they don't feel good about themselves. And how could we feel good about ourselves when we have the history that we do?
We can talk about all of the things, and we know the history, everybody knows the history. Or we can personally start taking responsibility for the way we interact with each other in our community, the way we behave. Are we going to be selfish, or are we going to be unselfish and contribute to our community, teach our young children that there's a positive way to build community, not a negative way? A community isn't constructed or built by wars and violence. We know that. We've seen the destruction of the world and our societies. So community can only be built by propping up each other, creating relationships, building strong ties as a community. That's the only way a community gets built.
Parents, you know, you look at your own family, like, you know, and teach them the way you believe in yourself, you know, and how would you expect your children to treat you, have them treat the people the same, you know. And if we can all do that, you know, there wouldn't be no violence, you know, yeah.
The part that I really, really like, though, is like when you say forgiving. If you forgive yourself and you forgive the people who did you wrong, or people that put you down, that changes everything. It really does. You know, when you blame somebody, you carry so much on your back. And that's the part that weighs you down. We got to stop weighing ourselves down, or else we'll never change.
When I think about how we address these things, it does always come back to just us. We have to do it. There's no other way. We cannot expect or ask, because nobody else will do it. Nobody else has anything to gain except us.
The government is not going to stop it. Church is not going to stop it. Regardless of what was ever done historically, it's got to be us that stops it. Me. Each one of us taking our inventory. So those people are watching this, maybe take a minute and think about when's the last time that you committed an act of lateral violence.